This is a HeadGum podcast.
This week on the program, oh my God, there's another one. It's Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. I'm Andrew Jupin.
On Stranger Steve Sadek.
Eric Siska.
Chris Cabin.
Dad Mermaid.
And we hate movies. Hello, everyone. Welcome to We Hate Movies. Thank you for tuning in. As always, that's right. It is week 4 of Pirate Mania around here, and we are very happy to welcome, not in studio, unfortunately, but joined remotely thanks to the magic of the internet, Jourdain Searles. You know her as a writer, comedian, podcaster, and the co-host of the Bad Romance podcast. Jourdain, welcome to We Hate Movies.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, this is great. This is another person that we can, you're also suffering the pirate fever with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're marooned on an island, and we appreciate any and all new attention. It's very much appreciated.
Absolutely.
This is the 4th installment in the franchise from 2011 somehow, my God. Directed by Rob Marshall. This is the first Verbinski-less Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Now, Jourdain, we're curious here. We're asking all the guests, what is your back history with this franchise? Did you see any of these suckers in theaters?
Yeah, I used to love these movies because I was a big Johnny Depp fan at a time, mostly in the 90s, his actual good acting. And then 2003 rolls around and he does this movie and suddenly everybody wants to suck his dick, but
it's true.
It's I really liked it at a point. I used to think it was really good. I don't think so anymore. So yeah, I really liked the first one. I had it on DVD. I saw the second one. I thought it was fine. The third one, I actually also fell asleep.
Yes. Team nap time.
There's like a signal in that film that makes you fall asleep.
That should be, I have insomnia. I should just start putting that on when I'm worried about the state of the world and be like, you know what, dude, at least I'm not here.
Yeah, it's not the brown note, the Z note.
Now, Jourdain, I don't remember this movie coming out. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't remember the ad campaign. I don't remember even teasers or any of that stuff.
No, I have no awareness of this movie. I didn't know anything about it. I knew that there were more movies, but I just assumed that they just made one more and then they were done. But I thought that the one with Javier Bardem was the 4th one. I didn't know about this one at all.
I've been calling the last 3 movies of these on Stranger Tides at one point or another. I don't know why this title specifically has stuck in my head like this, even though until this afternoon or this morning, I've never seen this movie.
What's the next and last one? Dead Man's Bluff? Somebody?
Dead Man Tell No Tale.
Dead Men Tell No Tale.
Yeah,
there it is.
Okay.
I mean, On Stranger Tides might be one of the best titles. It's better than At World's End, I think.
I think so, yeah. I do not mind this title at all. I also don't mind, we'll get into the movie here, our favorite thing to point out here in We Hate Movies, an altered film company opening.
Yes.
Not too drastic here. It's the Magic Kingdom as always with the Disney release. However, those mermaids jumping in Walt Disney's pool, man, he was pretty upset about that.
I didn't even notice that. There's mermaids in that shot?
What are you talking about?
There's a pirate flag over the castle now, so all the citizens of Disney World has been murdered. Right?
Yeah, Bob Iger had that put in.
I actually went back and rewatched the opening shot of every single one because I was like, was there always a pirate flag up there? There wasn't.
No? Oh, was this the first one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Dark times in the Disney Empire.
Disney has fallen.
That's Captain Bob Iger.
Dude, half-mast, maybe something happens. By the way, Johnny Depp was very upset about some executive. I was reading Tim Cook resigned between these movies, and he's like, my enthusiasm level shrank when Tim left the project, kind of a thing, which kind of makes sense because he is sleepwalking through this movie.
Well, I read that too, and that's an it might make sense for that, because apparently this guy was the big defender of his portrayal of the character in the first 3 movies, and then suddenly like the more the zany elements of Jack Sparrow are kind of tamed in this one.
He's sleepwalking.
He is Bugs Bunny in this movie.
Yeah.
Because there's so much of these movies, there's a running theme, and in this one too, where he just like loves the women and he leaves them, and I just could not imagine anyone having sex with this like inhuman kind of like Pee Wee Herman kind of creature. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. At the end, Penelope Cruz is barking at, like, throwing herself at this guy who looks like a Guns N' Roses roadie.
And
He lies about being pregnant, and I'm just like, by him?
I mean, and the crust and the smell and everything else, like, the character's got a fucking
A
stink.
whole personality. People should be treating him like a space alien or something.
Well, you got to figure this is like the mid 18th century. As
Right.
far as like
Love it.
pirates go, I don't know. If you had a choice between Jack Sparrow and Gibbs,
I'm going
No.
Gibbs, dude.
Gibbs an honest man.
Too. Yeah.
Right? And Gibbs has those mutton chops. Those are like handles. Am I right?
Gibbs, I feel like Gibbs's mouth is less disgusting.
fair enough. Fair enough. That's probably true.
On the internet, they might say Gibbs is daddy, right, everybody?
Yeah. I don't know.
What?
He also seems
She's
like a
gonna leave
tender
the show.
lover.
It's gonna happen. I'm gonna force her off the show.
Wait, Gibbs is daddy. That's what
I
you
think
said.
Gibbs is daddy. Yeah, I can see that. I can go with that. Yeah.
But what does that mean?
He's just an older, sexy man, I think, is what's going on.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
yeah, it's kind of like Twitter speak for like he's hot. Like there is a lot of like weird choices for that where they'll have like Martin Scorsese and he'll be like, Marty, that's daddy. And I'm just like, all right, he's very old.
Daddy, that was a wonderful picture by Vincent Minnelli.
Somebody called me daddy on the internet. So yeah, we start off with our cold open here. There's a small little trawler that is reeling in a fishing net. And, the thing you don't want to have happen when you're out fishing in the ocean in the middle of the night is to pull up your net and there's a dude in your net who is also alive.
Yeah, I'd fix that with a knife.
So the King of Spain is like, oh, cool. Fountain of Youth, Ponce de Leon. How soon can you sail? And this dude, kind of a great line. He's like, with the tide. A great way to say right away. I actually like that. Like, as soon as the tide goes out, Your Highness, we're out of here.
Oh, no, we're gonna have to wait a day. This is a stranger tide than I'm used to.
This gentleman looks a lot like Alan Moore that they find, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. I think it might have been Alan Moore.
Okay, yeah.
Or inspired by Alan Moore.
I think that's where that's where he got that inspiration for that Watchmen pirate comic, I think.
Oh, of course. That all checks
Forgot
out.
about that.
That's early more now. Now he has like a beard. It's almost a colony that's living in that fucking beard of his now.
Oh,
Well,
man.
everybody's hair is really up to 11 in this movie. Like
Mhm.
Johnny Depp had the dreads before, but now they're like gigantic, like they're thicker and they're also blonde and kind of just like look like shit. Like, I mean, they look like shit before, but they look worse. And then Barbossa has that like giant unwieldy wig that's not the same color as his like chin hair.
Yeah.
It's out of control.
Barbossa like siding with the monarchy here for part of this movie and thus wearing like I think he just took Jonathan Pryce's wig. They were like, hey man, you got killed in that last movie. You don't need this anymore. Yoink.
Man,
I know
him
what they were trying to do, but like they didn't have to make him look like complete shit.
Yeah.
with Barbossa?
He
Yes.
looks like a dried turd.
Well, yeah,
Yes.
because he's got the white face paint of the court or whatever.
It's like
So-
flaky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he looks terrible.
I will
It's
say
awful.
that the thing too about how everybody looks, I think, is Verbinski isn't directing this anymore. The crazy filters are gone, and I actually miss them because, like, in the cold light of day, these costumes look like garbage. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like,
yeah.
Mhm.
The filters were great. I mean, well, this is directed by Rob Marshall, which is like Disney's bitch. Like, they just kind of tell him to do something and he does it. He doesn't really have any like aesthetic style. So it just looks kind of like a video game. I just kept on thinking of the movie in terms of like levels. Like this is the level where we get the guy out of prison. This is the level where the mermaids attack. It all just looks like we're playing through it very slowly.
Absolutely. They're like anticipating, like, as soon as this movie is a massive hit, we're going to release a not so great, totally unappealing video game that no one will buy.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed's Caribbean Drift.
Totally. In true Pirates of the Caribbean fashion at this point now in the franchise, we're also starting this movie. You're not 15 minutes into this thing, and it is already, we are getting all revved up for mass pirate execution. It is now entertainment in foggy old London town. That's where we go next. And
I kind of like enjoy, like, okay, yeah, we're going to Europe. That's something new.
I did like that.
We're briefly there. I do think the London segment is maybe the strongest part of the film, because at least some of those fights and escapes feel grounded in some way.
Well, it's breezier too. Like late, we've jettisoned so much of the mythology of the first couple of movies, and now we're doing what we kind of talked about on these for a while. It's like it's its own little adventure. You know what I mean? Like it becomes late and stupid in its own right, but like at least in the start in London, it's like, okay, this is like a fresh start.
Yeah.
Daddy has a court date.
I just want to see some memes, Daddy Gibbs. I'll be honest with you, and I'll share those.
Dude, why don't you just make them?
I'm not a memer, you know. I'm not a memer.
Sure.
A meme smith?
You're an unlicensed memer?
Exactly.
Never graduated from meme school?
I'm an idea man, dude.
Gotcha. Okay. But yes, Gibbs is on trial for being a pirate, the crime of being a pirate. He is set to be executed. When, we're starting off with funny disguises. Here's Johnny Depp pretending to be the magistrate here.
Because Gibbs is being accounted for Sparrow's crimes. He's being tried as Jack Sparrow.
Mistaken identity, yeah.
And yes...
Get into that outfit, like, and how did he get past all those guards?
Oh, that's a great question. Kind of the same question as like, how did Jack Sparrow get in that coffin in the second movie?
Yeah.
You know,
with a drunken Bugs Bunny shimmy, I think is the idea.
Totally. He dressed up as a pretty lady and then tricked the judge and like hit him over the head with a hammer and stole his gown or whatever. Also, though, I think people would notice right away. It's like, wow, that judge really smells. Like, we were in this courtroom, and then remember when the judge came in and like right before it didn't smell, but then we got it. He came into the courtroom and now it smells.
But there's
and
also
like
got to be people that like work there every day. That's like, no, that's not the judge. No, I carry his fucking bedpan every day. That's not the judge.
I mean,
that guy right there. Yeah, he's an imposter.
Everybody smells like shit, but not everybody smells like shit and the sea.
Right.
Yeah, this guy smells of like sand and salt water. He might be a pirate in disguise.
And we're doing like a sequel thing where like Gibbs knows what's going on, but he's angry at Johnny Depp, so he's like he's kind of saying that he might turn him in as this is happening, kind of a thing. Like they're frenemies.
They're having like a separate conversation, like on a different wavelength as they're like in this court proceeding or whatever. We learn that Gibbs' first name is Joshami.
Mm-hmm.
That's something.
I hope that name comes back. You think the name Joshami?
That's exactly right, dude. We have a bunch of like hipsters naming their kids Joshami now.
This is my daughter.
It's not Joshua. It's Joshami. Excuse me.
My daughter Jaden and my son Joshami.
We're out of Joshami license plates in the gift shop.
Why, yes, we are Lutherans.
Oh, whatever, man. So they get in this whole tussle or whatever, and Johnny Depp's like, you know what? This guy can just spend his life in jail. He doesn't have to be executed. And there is one woman in the gallery of this courthouse that is not having it. Like, she's so there for blood and is screaming about this guy not being hanged.
That's like Seinfeld being delayed, dude. That's all they got.
Yeah, and I almost wanted. They like are selling like hung puppets outside of the thing. I wanted them to like just sell a T-shirt then. Break out the big stuff. Popcorn in the bucket. Do the whole thing.
Seinfeld being delayed. It'd be great if like they finally catch Jack Sparrow and Gibbs over like the Good Samaritan law.
He refuses to help somebody who's about to be run down by like a horse and carriage or something like that. They just laugh at him.
Speaking of horse and carriage, this is now where we get an exciting moment, right? So Gibbs is being taken to the Tower of London for sentenced to life instead of death. And Jack Sparrow pays off the carriage rider, but the carriage rider, pirate tattoo. That means he's just going to double cross you anyway and actually take you to the fucking Tower of London. Or whatever. They go to the king's courtroom or dining table. It's not a throne room, but it should have been a throne room, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if they're at the palace here specifically, but this is Richard Griffiths, the late Richard Griffiths as King George.
Yeah.
Did not know he was slumming it in these movies. That's kind of sad.
One of his last roles. He passed away a couple years after this.
Ah, that's a loss.
Yeah, with Nell and I, right, everybody.
That's right,
Yeah.
With Nell and I, indeed, dude.
Yeah.
He's excellent in that movie.
And I think this is the best scene in the movie. And this is where Johnny Depp then tries to so the king offers him I guess he would work with Barbossa, and he refuses and decides to make this huge distraction
Stink
to
instead.
escape. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. It's like, I can't work with my former coworker anymore. I refuse to do this. Instead, I'm going to escape the office.
But to Jourdain's point, he's comically after these cream puffs and stuff.
Yeah.
It's very Bugs Bunny-esque. It's not in the first movie, it's all about booze, right? And in this one, it's a little more family friendly. He wants food, he's kind of like Alf in some way. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm gonna eat a cat, savvy.
Yeah, and this one he's just he's stepping on the food, he's running down the table, and then he swings on the chandelier, and there's fruit on the chandelier for some reason. I don't know, I don't know if he brought it from the table, brought it to the chandelier, or there was just fruit on the chandelier. Then he just swings up and takes a bite.
Yeah, there was at least one piece of food that he kicked up there by mistake, I guess, but he goes back for it because that lovable rogue.
You need to have your blood sugar up if you're going to be doing comical pranks. So, you got to eat, you got to make sure you're okay.
But it's a decent fight here. It's just it's like a restrained sword fight. There's no donkeys running through, and there's no interdimensional squid monster. So it kind of worked for me. Also, the chandelier, I'm a sucker for. I love a swing off a chandelier.
Yeah. I mean, because that's very tried and true element of an old pirate movie, which we never really get to see in these movies because they're never in a place that would have a chandelier.
Yeah, like you said, there should be a throne room, so we get a little bit more, opulence is what I'm looking for here, guys.
Sure. But so before the breakout happens, though, Barbossa does come in, and he's like, hey, you're going to team up with Barbossa to do this. Barbossa, by the way, sporting a nice wooden leg in this movie. He's now peg leg Barbossa.
He's up in his pirate game. I feel like that's more of a thing, that's an upgrade, I feel, for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real commitment to your bit. I sort of look at getting a peg leg like that, folks who are really into having plugs in their ears, and you get the gauges bigger and bigger. And eventually it's I'm going to pass a point where I will not be able to reverse this. Let's do it.
Wait, so then you start doing your feet, and then you get a bigger and bigger foot. It's there's bigger gauges of feet.
Yes.
No, I'm not saying specifically for your leg, but it's a commitment to your look.
Right.
I do appreciate that this is it's an off-screen development for this character that's minor enough that it's acceptable to happen off screen, unlike last week with the murder of the Kraken, which we never get to see.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, but that's kind of the thing, is his thing is he wants revenge for Blackbeard for doing this to him, and yada yada yada, which we kind of get to eventually.
He took the pearl. He took the pearl.
The peg leg is we haven't seen it yet. That's a pirate thing. And then maybe we add Blackbeard. That's a pirate thing.
He's a
known
known pirate. I will say, I don't know if I'm going to be alone here in any way, but Blackbeard, kind of one of the highlights of this movie.
Oh, he's
Ian
the best
McShane-
character.
Ian McShane gives a shit, I think, at least.
Because it's not the fourth fucking time he's been in a pirate movie. It's the first time he's been in a pirate movie. So, of course, the energy's there. Also, I think a guy like Ian McShane, born to play a pirate. I mean, just look at him. That's natural pirate look right there. But so the whole thing is the King George is all right, look, I heard rumors that the Spanish were also trying to find the Fountain of Youth, and I will not be upstaged by any Spaniards. So you have to race back to the Caribbean and get the Fountain of Youth, or get to the Fountain of Youth, before the Spaniards do, because this is the Kingdom of Britain and we are the absolute best at everything.
Oh, by the way, did you see one of the King's advisors here? Qyburn from Game of Thrones. Yep. Yeah, Anton Lesser.
Oh, that's who that is. Okay, because it was one of those guys, like he's like some stuffed shirt in this movie, and I'm like, that guy is something. Okay.
Who?
Yeah. He was, oh my Lord. Okay, so in Game of Thrones, it starts out with Robert Baratheon going on a big...
Jourdain, go to the bathroom now. You have to go to the bathroom.
I have never watched that show. Like when my fiance watches it, I just leave the room and go watch something more interesting.
That's the move.
All right, cliff notes. Qyburn was like the evil advisor to Cersei towards the end of the series.
He made the big Frankenstein monster.
Yes.
All right. Fair enough.
Sir Robert Strong, but was it? It was still Gregor, but anyway, the book was different.
That's not as good as the other cameo, which is Judi Dench.
Yes.
Oh man!
Yes.
So let's
in
get
this
into
carriage.
So he escapes, and there's a big high-speed chase here and there. It is a high-speed chase because we're on top of all of these carriages and stuff. But he, at one point, swings into a carriage, and there's Dame Judi Dench, I guess was on vacation near the set and was, hip to participate. I don't understand why this is here.
I feel like she just wanted to be there, but also I would watch a pirate movie with Judi Dench. I was kind of sad. I want to see her on a ship.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many characters in this franchise that start off not as pirates, but then later become pirates. And I think she would be doing an awesome job becoming a pirate.
What if she was Blackbeard?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be
my God. Well, yeah. I mean, she played that cat that was originally a dude, so why not?
Oh, that's right. Oh, cats. Oh,
yes, old Deuteronomy.
That's right. Oh, man. Oh, I sent shivers down my spine.
I guess she was just a fan of the franchise, kind of one of those things. Why not?
She should become his backer, like James, like M for James Bond, but for Jack Sparrow.
Okay, I can see that. She's keeping him organized and on track.
Come back dead, Jack. Come back dead.
That is my prayer every time Jack Sparrow goes out on the high seas.
I want to see a pirate Q, that's just it's a fucking rusty sword.
When you turn it this way, it turns into also a rusty sword. Maybe, because she won that Academy Award for Shakespeare in Love, and that was 3 minutes of screen time or whatever. Maybe she thought she could do it again.
Maybe she's been in a Rob Marshall movie. I'm not remembering.
She's not in Chicago. She's not. I don't think she's in 9.
There's.
She's the geisha in Memoirs of a Geisha.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, of course.
She's the titular geisha.
She is not.
And then Jourdain mentioned Into the Woods, which I thought was a fucking wretched movie.
I wasn't a big fan.
Could not stand it.
Did not see it.
Yeah.
Get that James Corden off my movie screens. Oh, speaking of cats. Oh, now I'm disgusted all over again.
I have not seen Cats yet. We're going to do a commentary.
No. How have you not seen Cats?
I wanted to, but I'm holding it because we're going to do a commentary on Patreon, and it's going to be my first time. I haven't seen any iteration. I know nothing about it. People have been saying Jellica or whatever. What is it?
Jellicle
cat.
Yeah, and that just sounds like a fucking Jello thing to me. I don't know.
So the big chase scene kind of comes to an end. There's a lot of horses running through fake fire around here. Kind of a thing that really does add to the video game-ness of everything is there is a ton of CGI in this movie. Obviously all of these movies have CGI here and there, but I feel like this one specifically amps that up. A lot of the ships are way more CGI.
Well, the budget was $400 million, which is insane.
This is the most expensive movie ever made.
Which is just...
I noticed it the most with the mermaid attack, because when the mermaids are just flipping their tails and landing on everything and just attacking, they just look fake as fuck.
Yeah,
it's really bad.
It's so bad. So much of this is all of your big action scenes are at night. So you cover up how bad this stuff looks. I don't know where this money was going.
I didn't hear that the mermaids were attacking it, and I saw it, and I was like, "What's happening?" What is that? The fuck's going on? What is there's a zombie attack in the middle of this?
We'll get there, but like they're like flying. They're like flying around.
Yes.
It's fucking weird.
They're vampire mermaids.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, when we were watching the movie the other night, we were texting back and forth, and I said, "Just do fucking Dracula. Fuck this mermaid shit."
I'm telling you, that was in the writer's room for sure.
It was just on a
Somebody pitched
whiteboard. Dracula? Question mark? Maybe.
Okay, so like you start out in foggy old London town. Maybe Dracula is in dirt in a coffin on a ship going to the Caribbean because he likes to party, right? And Jack gets involved, etc.
I could see it, man. I mean, I think what Dracula, takes place like 100 years after this movie. But so maybe he doesn't go to England right away to buy Carfax Abbey. First, he's going on vacation.
Right, exactly.
I'd love
Carfax Abbey? Did I hear that correctly?
it. Carfax Abbey is the name of the house that he buys.
It tells
in
you the
London.
blue book value of your fucking Chevy.
Thank you.
So yeah, the chase ends. He is hearing all of these rumors about, Jack Sparrow is looking for a ship and looking for a crew, and he's actually holding auditions to be part of his crew at this tavern. And so Sparrow realizes there's someone else who's using his identity, and he wants to get to the bottom of it. So he goes to this tavern where right outside he's about to be assassinated by a redcoat, but then that dude drops dead because thank God another Keith Richards cameo in this movie. And I have to say, at least in this movie, he acknowledges that he looks like complete shit.
That's true. He's like, oh yeah, because there's a line like, "Oh, do you think I've seen the Fountain of Youth? Look at me."
Yeah, because he's like, "Oh, hey, Dad, did you ever find the Fountain of Youth?" And he's like, "Look at me. Do I look like I did that? I look like a fucking football that's been left in a pool for a long weekend." It's like
reminds me a lot about something that I've always been curious about, which is like, why don't white guys ever wear sunscreen? I mean, this is the past, so of course they don't have it. But when I look at Keith Richards, I'm just like, why doesn't he wear sunscreen? Like, it's made for you. For your white skin. Just wear it.
I learned that lesson the hard way. I went to Los Angeles years ago, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm fine." And I became red as a lobster.
Ooh.
Yes.
See, if you don't use lotion, you can get your skin at a jerky type, and then it just tastes better when you eat your own skin.
Yeah, I mean,
I see Keith Richards as an eater.
Okay.
That explains that.
See, it's a very easy thing to figure out if you think about it.
So they're having a drink in the tavern. What were you going to say, Steve?
Oh, no, this is when Penelope Cruz kind of shows up in like Johnny Depp cosplay a little bit.
And it's interesting because do you think this was any kind of commentary on like all of these Jack Sparrow people you saw, like as these movies got bigger, like Halloween costumes, street performers? I mean, because I have seen multiple Jack Sparrow cosplayers like just out in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
But we've seen multiple Jack Sparrows in the last movie as well. I mean, the big problem with this, like it ends up being a reveal that like, oh, it's Penelope Cruz or whatever, but the fight sequence goes on way too long, and the reveal would be more powerful if it's quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my opinion.
Well, they kiss first, and it's like, he's kissing a dude, and like, everything kind of shakes, and it's like, obviously. His mustache is falling off at the time, too, by the way.
He has a kind of funny line here that's like perfect for the characters. After he kisses her, I mean, she's still got like the fake mustache on and everything. And he goes, "Oh, I've always wanted to do that." And I was like, yes, of course Jack Sparrow is the guy who dreams of making out with himself. Like, absolutely he wants to do that.
One of my biggest pet peeves, and we've discussed it 100 times on this show, is what I've seen the poster. I know Penelope Cruz is in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you like see her eye, and then they're like, "No, you don't know who it is. Who possibly could it be? Could it be Ian McShane? Whoopi Goldberg?" It's like, it's Penelope Cruz. Just stop with this. It makes the filmmaking feel so like on track, like just pre-thought.
This is like a 10-minute sword fight.
Yep, and it's a 10-minute sword fight. After like 3 minutes ago, we finished a huge like 10 to 15-minute escape scene.
Exactly. It's reminiscent of that of the Orlando Bloom sword fight, actually. The whole up and down, and we're jumping on stuff.
Is that a reference to anything? Because like everyone wanted them to kiss in that scene, right?
Oh, maybe
the whole fan community.
Oh, that entirely could be possible. By the way, Cabin, do not tease me with your fantasy casting, dude, because anything that would brighten up this franchise, the Whoopster is definitely one of them.
I could take it. Yeah,
you'd be hard pressed getting the Whoopster in these movies, though.
I would love a black actor in this movie that's not a cannibal or a monster or something, because that's the only that we'll get into it. But that guy sucks so bad.
Oh, the guy who's zombified.
The guy who's like not Dijma Hansu.
Yeah, the whole zombie stuff that we're like finally getting around to. I'm surprised it took them 4 movies to get into that whole thing.
Like Ian McShane and Blackbeard would be cool, but they make him like this weird magic guy, and he's like a Cenobite. Really, he's like shooting ropes at people and like whipping people up with ropes, and he's got like a crew of Jason Voorhees.
Yeah, it's like it's a zombie crew because it makes them more compliant, ?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I guess Jeffrey Dahmer would have been a great fucking captain.
Come on.
But yeah, I don't know the legend of Blackbeard, but the whole like he's controlling the ship like with his sword.
You got to give me more on this enchanted sword. I know like it's pretty obvious through the filming language that the sword's doing the action. But it's not like clear. Like I got this sword from a magic guy, and that's what happened.
I need him to talk to the sword and like be it his like oh Mary, we're gonna go out on the seas again tonight.
My sword, Mary,
sweet Mary.
I do love Penelope Cruz. I think is good in this movie, but her character sucks. Is that fair? Like I think she does a good job, but like. They set up like it's your classic Pirates of the Caribbean thing where they set up one character and then it's like, oh, here's a reveal. I like the first one, which is like just this like ex-lover of Jack Sparrow's who was going to be a Spanish nun, and then he tempted her and yada yada yada, and she's out for blood. And it's like, oh no, she's actually just obsessed with her dad. It's Blackbeard. It's her dad.
There's so much dad obsession in this franchise, and I don't understand. You're a grown-ass woman. Your dad is old as hell. Why do you, like, the whole time I was just like, does she want to fuck her dad? I just don't understand.
Her dad's
what her issue is, because it's like, the whole movie is like, we need to save him from dying, but, like, he's old as hell. Just let him die. People didn't even, like, live that long back then.
Totally. And, like, her whole motivation of, like, getting him to drink from the fountain of youth is like so she can have more time with this guy. And it's like, what are you even talking about? Like, your dad is Blackbeard, dude. I'm sorry. If your dad was fucking Adolf Hitler, would you want him to stick around? This guy's a mass murderer.
But he's my dad.
More time to do what?
There's good in Hitler. I can save him.
That's a great question, though, Jourdain. It's like more time for what? Like for piracy? Like this guy's not coming to a family gathering.
No, she wants to see more people killed, more people burned up, more people like, oh, the rope stuff is fantastic.
Maybe they want to go to like the first ice cream parlor, possibly. That'd be fun, a father-daughter event.
Penelope Cruz is like somebody writing like bitches, man. They like their dads and they're like obsessed with their ex-boyfriends and they lie all the time.
We'll get to the ending, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the desperation of lying about being pregnant for 2 seconds there is kind of like, wait, what are you doing, movie? Hang on a second. I want to say about that fight scene the two of them have, though, there is a hilarious moment where Johnny Depp's trying to run up like some ramp and she's knocking all these barrels down like it's Donkey Kong.
Yes.
And he's getting fucking hit with all these barrels and trying to jump over them. Not too shabby. I had a good laugh over that.
Is this the dozenth rafters fight we've had in this? It's been a lot. There's been a lot.
I think we're getting tired of it, man. I think we're physically getting tired of seeing people fight in and around rafters.
Doesn't that make it more interesting than the ground?
Look, they're above the floor.
Whoa, could you imagine doing that? That's like danger.
Fights on a floor, whatever. Fights in the rafters. Look out.
You took away the fucking donkey. It was my favorite part. Good. Take away anything. Take away the goddamn rafters.
Stephen Graham shows up here as one of the other pirates, like her number 2 kind of a thing.
Yes.
He's kind of fun.
Stephen Graham from
Scrum.
Snatch and
The Irishman.
Oh, right. He is great in The Irishman, actually.
Incredible.
And another Ian McShane classic, Hellboy, the remake.
Ugh.
Who is he? Oh, he does the voice of that monster in that movie, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
That's
Yeah,
Oh, the pig beast?
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. I forgot about that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So Keith Richards, I think, is the first one to make reference to. There's this like ceremony or ritual they have to do involving the Fountain of Youth. It's not just like we can't just go to the Fountain of Youth and have somebody like dip a cup in the water and drink from it. Oh no, we've got to find 2 chalices. We need the tear of a mermaid. Like, come on, everybody, with collecting tears.
The regular enticement of a Fountain of Youth is not convoluted enough. Like, we have to be in line with the rest of the movies where you have to have fucking 7 MacGuffins going.
I'm just glad.
I looked it up on Wikipedia, and it's like there has to be 2 chalices. One of them has a mermaid tear in it. The one who drinks the one with the mermaid tear is the person who gets eternal life. And then the other person drinking it gets their life drained from them and brought into the person with the mermaid tear cup.
I mean, it's so confusing. So does that mean to drink from the Fountain of Youth, you need to kill someone in this chalice
Absolutely,
drinking?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta
Can't
bring
let
a
me
dead
sipping
person.
from a cup
Right.
innocently. You know.
And also torture a mermaid. Or I guess tell her a sad story.
Cut
You
an
know-
onion under her face. That's all you have to do.
Right.
Let me
do
get
that.
2 vodka rocks, one with a mermaid's tear, one definitely not with a mermaid's tear.
Oh, and please carefully mark which one is which.
Yes.
I really need to know.
Dude, the whole thing with just collecting a tear, though, like, and also, I'm sorry, when I like, this is a franchise where I have seen fish people. One of the villains was a big octopus face gentleman. We literally fell off the edge of the world in the last movie, but there was something about just the second my ear heard mermaid, I was like, no, come on. Oh, come on. That's a little too far with pirate lore for whatever reason.
You get 3 at most. Okay?
Yeah.
3 mermaids, that's fine. A battalion, a fucking siege of goddamn mermaids. No, that doesn't work.
Well, there are so many characters that do not speak in this movie, which also makes me feel like it's a video game. Like it's just like they're all just kind of there, but they're like non-playable characters.
Yeah, they've got like the 2 sound bits like meh, da, 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 meh, da, 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 meh, meh.
Yeah, they do sound like that.
That's essentially it.
I do. So, what happens to Johnny Depp here? He gets knocked out and
Yeah, he
drafted on Blackbeard's ship.
Yeah, he gets an arrow or a dart in his neck, and when he wakes up, Scrum tells him that he's on the Queen Anne's Revenge, and this is Johnny Depp going, "Oh, Queen Anne's Revenge. I guess that means Blackbeard is in this movie, audience."
Queen Anne's Revenge sounds like a hell of a cake, doesn't it?
It sounds like something you'd be dealing with after some form of food poisoning, actually.
Right, yeah.
Like, oh my God,
man.
last night I ate 40 British chicken wings.
Yeah, don't fucking...
And I woke up with Queen Anne's Revenge.
Sorry, love, I can't be going to your bridal shower. I got the Queen Anne's Revenge.
Believe it was the curry last night. Gave me the Queen Anne's Revenge.
Don't drink the water in the UK.
Have you been to, there's this pirate bar like downtown in New York called The Folly, and I went there for one of my birthdays, and they had all these like weird drink names, and now I kind of want to go back and see if they have a Queen Anne's Revenge. I had tapping the Admiral, and I do not remember anything that happened after like tapping the Admiral too.
Do you remember whether or not it was tasty, though?
It was delicious. Like, I loved the drinks at that bar. But yeah, I was so drunk. Actually, like, my fiance first proposed to me at that bar because we were so drunk. And It's like 4 a.m. and he's like, "You want to get married?"
Oh, I love it.
Did you have to have that second conversation the next day of like, yeah, we do want to get married though, right?
Yes, no, it happened like I totally blacked out, and then I woke up, and then he was like, "Do you remember what we said last night?"
Oh.
Anyway, if New York ever opens up, you should go to that.
Oh,
It's going to be
yeah.
my first stop.
Did
I
you
can't
remember what we
wait.
said last night? Star Trek marathon? Yes, but also.
Also, life-changing decision. Does that ring any bells?
It'd be
Indian
really-
for dinner
it
tonight,
would
right?
be-
That's what we're talking about? Yeah, Indian for dinner, yeah.
It would be terrible if they kept on like asking for different things. Oh, you mean the time we talked about the New Yorker article? No, not that. Oh, the time we talked about going for Indian tomorrow? No, not that.
Keep going.
So we're on Blackbeard's ship. This is where we're told that the men have all been zombified because all the like captured pirates are scrubbing the poop deck right now, and there's a guy going around yelling at everybody and whipping them.
Yeah, I mean, this is another instance of seeing people scrub the poop deck, and I'm thinking there's got to be a better place to go to the bathroom.
Oh, look, let me in there. I got the Queen Anne's Revenge again.
Oh, I
the
better
Queen
get on
Anne's
the
Revenge.
deck. But this is also, they're like, oh yeah, so Blackbeard, aka Edward Teach, which was historically, I guess, his real name, resurrector of the dead. And
Sure.
you know, if you tell me that a character in a film is known as a resurrector of the dead, I better see that shit in the movie, not just the byproduct of it after the fact.
CGI ropes, though.
Well, that's the thing is if
On
they showed
CGI
it,
ropes.
right? They went for CGI ropes because if they showed some type of like dark arts ritual, it'd be like this is not a Disney movie anymore.
I guess.
Those
Oh,
happen
it's all
behind the scenes.
it's witchcraft, dude. That's
Yeah.
You go,
And around this time is where they introduced the Sam Claflin character, the missionary, which
Yeah.
so this movie is based on a book, and they just basically like put Jack Sparrow and Barbossa and some other people in it. And this guy is the protagonist of the book.
That makes
Oh.
sense.
Really?
Is it a coloring book?
Yeah.
No, I think it's a real book. I read that too. Like they just took and they were like, oh, you know, we wanted to adapt it, but not adapt it and piratify it a little bit. And then they just kind of like, yeah, like it's basically Roger Rabbit where they're next to all these other characters, I guess.
It would actually make sense to like make this missionary the main character, and he like gets entangled in a wacky adventure with side character Jack Sparrow, and then you actually have a protagonist with a point of view.
Well, that's sort of what, you know, Curse of the Black Pearl starts as. Is it's like we talked about this. It's sort of like the Orlando Bloom show a little bit, and then it skyrockets into the Jack Sparrow show.
And I will say Sam Claflin is a step up from Orlando Bloom, at least in the acting department. The characters kind of falls off a cliff, like narratively, but at least like when he's saying words, I believe them a little bit.
That's
Yeah,
fair, but like I just don't care about this storyline whatsoever. Like,
no, because the movie
at
doesn't
all.
give you a reason to.
No, why would so like him being good? I'm just like, okay.
Well,
Yes.
yeah, and I mean, like, it's like he's a Christian missionary, so I guess the narrative idea is that like Blackbeard is evil and he is good, and it's like good, like clashing with evil. Except that they're not even like punching the same weight. Like it's Ian McShane, and it's like this fucking guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't stand a chance, like clearly against Blackbeard. Like, and I like Sam Claflin. I think he's a really good actor.
He's great in The Nightingale.
Yes.
So good.
Woo!
That is a rough movie, but he is very good in it. Obviously, intentionally rough, by the way. But then, like the exact opposite of that, I'm pretty sure this was Sam Claflin. There's that new Netflix romantic comedy that came out. Is Claflin the guy in that? It's a brother is at his sister's wedding, and then like other people attend, and it's kind of like a wacky wedding farce. Has anyone seen this?
Oh, I thought that was terrible.
Yes, Love Wedding Repeat.
Yes, there
Oh.
it is. One of the most unfortunately structured things I've ever seen, because like it starts as a fairly decent,
Yes.
wacky comedy. And I don't want to spoil the twist for other people. Actually, no, if you read the Netflix thing, it tells you. the movie just stops and it's like, boy, that's a bummer. Wouldn't it be crazy if this happened instead and the movie rewinds itself?
And then it just plays Live, Die, Repeat with Tom Cruise.
Honestly, that's what it is. It's Live, Die, romantic comedy repeat, basically. And I think actually, oh no, that's what it is. The tie here that my brain was making, it's not Judi Dench doing the narration, but it's a woman who happens to be Judi Dench's like lifelong personal assistant that also sounds exactly like her doing this narration. Very confusing.
She does all the voiceover in the James Bond games, is what you're saying?
Dude, honestly,
that work?
It's entirely possible she sounds uncannily like Judi Dench.
Like
very weird.
Judi Bench?
Yes, it was if they hired Judi Bench.
And it's with a Y instead of an I.
Yeah, so like we meet all of his crew. We also meet this guy named the Quartermaster who has prophesied Blackbeard's death in a couple of weeks. The Quartermaster looks like an evil Howie Mandel. Anybody else get that?
I did not, but now that you said that, I'm gonna have to go back and look at this guy.
Is this the guy is this the actual Jason Voorhees, Derek Mirar?
Oh, was he Jason Voorhees?
Yes, he
in
was
the remake.
Yeah, he was in the
2009.
2009. He was also the guy who played Swamp Thing in the DC show there.
Got it. Yeah, he looks, I mean, at least in this movie, looks an awful lot like Howie Mandel. Deal or no deal.
Did he put a glove on his head?
People more literate than myself, is this guy not sort of like a weird, like pseudo Moby Dick reference? Because isn't there a guy in Moby Dick that has a sort of prophecy about Ahab's death?
Well, there's a couple references, like they say he won't go out of his cabin, and that's what Ahab doesn't come out of his cabin.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying the Quartermaster guy specifically, because he can see the future.
I think that's maybe Queequeg a little bit.
No, it's the one that starts
100...
with F. My wife knew it. It's like Finney or something like that.
Right.
It starts with an F. I forget, but she knew it right off the bat.
These are Moby Dick characters?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't word for it.
It doesn't matter.
But it is a reference. Andrew Soph knew it right off the bat.
Oh, okay, cool. So I'm not totally off base with that thought. Of all of Moby Dick that I've read, which is to say, once they start those like 200 pages on the history of whaling, I put the book away forever.
All right, I'm sorry. I just Googled Moby Dick characters, and it's just, you know how Google does that thing for you? It's like, oh, okay, we'll get you all these character pages on top of the results.
Oh, yeah.
So it's Captain Ahab, Ishmael, Queequeg, Moby Dick, Father Maple, Starbuck, Stub, Captain Boomer, by the way, sounds like a guy that's going to send back coffee, and actually Yosemite Sam, like literally, and it's the cartoon. I would have taken a screenshot of it. I can't handle it. It's so fucking funny. It's Yosemite Sam.
So it's all literary characters from the same book, and then the Warner Brothers character Yosemite Sam.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. Good to know. So the whole thing is, this guy has prophesied that in a fortnight, Blackbeard is going to be murdered by a man with one leg. Gee, who could that be? I wonder. The movie does no effort whatsoever to try to like make that a mystery at all.
I'll tell you what, I swore they were going to throw, like, I was like, that's too stupid. Of course, everybody knows who that is. So I thought they were going to switch it, and the mermaid was going to kill, and she just has like one appendage down there.
The fin is
yes.
one leg.
I kind of thought that was going to happen, but no, it's exactly what you think it is.
That's right. Yeah.
Very
so Johnny Depp's like, hey, this is kind of weird. No one has seen Blackbeard. He doesn't come out of his quarters, this, that, and the other thing. He must not be on the ship. Let's start a mutiny. Penelope Cruz is obviously lying to all of you guys. So we have another fight scene here in the middle of the night, so you can't see anything, not a detail to be had. And then it is kind of a great thing where Johnny Depp's got some line about like, well, we did it. The ship is ours. And the door opens. Kind of a decent entrance for Blackbeard in the movie.
Also interesting to note that the zombie characters don't actually die. They have to be like tied to the masts and stuff.
Yes.
Sam Claflin's also tied to the mast. They're like, oh, we got this Bible thumper on board. What are we going to do with this guy? Leave him way the hell up near the crow's nest.
And that's the introduction of this character. He's like 60 yards away. You can't even see him. You can't hear him. And like, that guy is really important.
Why not just introduce him? Have him be brought up in a fucking fishing net or something.
Yeah.
Or shipwreck. There were some cool shipwrecks in those other movies.
A lot of cool shipwrecks. Well, did they say how they stumbled across him, like, at all?
No, I didn't even know why he was on the ship. And then the Wikipedia summary was just like, oh, he's a prisoner. A prisoner for what? To do what?
Being Christian, because obviously Blackbeard worships the devil.
Yeah.
It is kind of late in the game in a franchise to bring the Christian God into it, I'll be honest with you. Like, we have not done that before, nor should we do that going forward. You know what I mean?
Well, we have like the underworld and shit. So like, okay, we have the underworld, we have purgatory. Is there a heaven? Does heaven work with that? I don't know.
There's pirate heaven and pirate hell only in this universe.
Exactly.
Which
It
are
also
different from heaven and hell themselves.
Davy Jones is not like going to church. You know what I mean? Like, that's
Right.
motherfuckers not getting into the Catholic Church.
Davy Jones is not checking in with Jesus Christ during this whole thing.
Well, yes, I guess Saint Peter, will let the Kraken into heaven.
Oh, yes. All Krakens go to heaven. That's a movie I want.
We're going to need a bigger cloud. This guy's big. Thank you. Thank you.
Saint Kraken, the saint of lost things and enormous fucking squids.
Peace be unto you, and you as well.
And now, before our service, we consume the blood and the body of the Kraken represented in this wine.
You're drinking squid ink.
Yeah.
Why is no one worshiping the Kraken? Oh, the Kraken is dead, right?
Yeah. So's Jesus. We worship that guy.
This is true, yeah. We worship
Kraken
the Kraken.
died for our sins.
Honestly,
no, you know what? Somebody needs to make a bullshit story about him coming back. Then you're okay.
Oh, right. Well, you know what? I would love if they stumble in one of these movies across like a tiny little island and it's just like two totally sun-poisoned, shipwrecked pirates and they've decided that they're just worshiping the Kraken. It would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if Tom Hanks and Castaway just worshipped a Kraken instead of having the friend that's the ball, I'd be so into that. That sounds great.
That's why he looked at that buffet so weirdly when he got back to land and there was like those giant crab legs and stuff and he's all like withered and he looks at them. Remember that scene?
He sees calamari and he's like,
yeah,
that's of my God. I cannot eat that. That is of my God.
Does he go to an all-you-can-eat buffet at the end of that movie?
When he's rescued, there's like food, and I believe he looks at something weird. Castaway is a weird movie because I planned on seeing it once, and then the theater had a fire alarm go off right when the plane's going down. So I'm like, "Fuck yeah, this sound rules!" And then I had to go see it again because I didn't see the ending. So I saw it once and a half, I guess. But I believe he does look at a buffet table of some sort. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's what I did after the movie.
When he's gonna meet Helen Hunt at the end,
Yes.
they have a nice spread there for him.
Yeah.
I see. Gotcha.
And I think it's supposed to be like, oh, look at the opulence, and I've been eating dirt.
Yeah,
gotcha. So Blackbeard's like, all right, well, look, someone's got to be blamed for this mutiny. And if it's not going to be you, Jack Sparrow, because I need you for this stupid plan that we're going on, let's just kill this cook.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, the execution of this man far outweighs any walking the plank or being left on an island with one shot in a gun. This dude is put out in a dinghy, and it's like you have 5 minutes to row as far as you can, and then whoops, this haunted ship also breathes fire like a dragon. I have to say, did not see that coming.
Why waste a boat?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Also,
Just
like,
hang him.
man, I want to know the fucking magic cylinders that makes this work. Why isn't the Queen Anne's Revenge not burning?
Well, you kind of expect the end of this movie to have like this thing's coming back, right? Like that's what you have to defeat is the ship with fire or something, you know.
Yeah, the ship that can be controlled, from land by a sword.
It becomes a wooden dragon and starts talking.
Yeah. I'll be honest, when this ship starts going, I didn't see the fire coming either. I honestly thought this ship was about to eat this man. I thought the mouth was going to open up and it was going to go into it like the Mortal Engines do.
What is it, like Truckosaurus?
Yeah, something like that. I was just like, what could this possibly be? Are you just going to run him over?
There's also something about when Blackbeard comes out. First of all, only one character's allowed to have beard dreads, and that's Johnny Depp. You can't start giving Blackbeard beard dreads as well. It's silly.
Well, it was the style at the time.
I really want to know how these dreads are created.
Yes.
Or do we? Because I feel the answer might be unsettling.
Well, when white people wear dreads now, they just like don't wash their hair.
That's we as a people have to stop doing that. It's not great. But yeah, you're right. The answer is to just not wash. That's what it is.
Yeah.
But when he comes out and like the ropes start moving around, it feels very Disney. It feels like someone's going to start singing. It really does.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Well, there's a moment in the movie. I mean, because this also, dude, it's Rob Marshall. So,
Sure.
Anything can happen. The scene where Jack Sparrow and Penelope Cruz's character, Angelica, I think the name is, they're like, there's like Scrum is playing the guitar or something, and they're like almost dancing. And I was like, is there about to be a dance number in this Pirates of the Caribbean movie? Because unacceptable. Not the time or the place for this.
It would make sense for Marshall, my boy.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's kind of the next movement where she reveals that she's Blackbeard's daughter, and that's all she cares about is her dad, not about anything else, not about any pirating or revenge. It's really just about getting my dad. Like, my dad's got cancer, and this is the only way to get rid of it, or whatever the fuck.
I guess.
And so Sparrow gets an audience with Blackbeard, and he's like, hey, man, that lady's lying to you. She's not your daughter. This whole thing. All the while, Blackbeard is just like casually constructing this Jack Sparrow voodoo doll, like right in front of him. If I saw that, I'd be like, hey, man, are you making a voodoo doll of me right now? Could you like not do that during this meeting?
I don't understand Jack's whole, like, she's lying to you thing. He spends this entire movie talking about how much she lies and how deceitful she is. And yes, she is, but why would she lie about who her dad is? And also, wouldn't her dad know who his daughter is? I don't get it. Is she a witch?
It's a great question, because I mean, none of it, like, they keep saying that she's a liar, but like, you don't see her lie, and it just makes you not sure who the character is. You know what I mean? Like,
well, there's
you're waiting for a twist that doesn't actually come, I guess.
Well, he says that she's pure evil, and I'm just like, we've met a lot of characters that are evil. She's just annoying.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many like reversals in this movie. Like, it literally, like, we're talking all about the Blackbeard stuff over on Barbarossa's ship. Fucking
over on Mr. Krabs' ship.
They're about to they see the Spanish Armada, I guess.
Yeah.
And they're passing. They're like, all right, get ready. And the music goes up and like, well, we're ready to fight. That's not. Let's not fight at all. How about that? I think let's not fight.
The Spanish ignore them, and I guess it's like, oh, that means the Fountain of Youth is so important. We must also pursue.
There's just, I don't know, there's like all this talk with Barbossa about like, are we not the king's men? We are representing the king. And I just don't, you're representing that weird man who just like, I don't know, Richard Griffiths in this movie looks almost like a demonic being in the time that he's in, and I'm just like, I don't understand where does all this pride come from? Also, how are all of these soldiers on this one ship? Like, it's so full. Like, where do they sleep?
Just right where they're standing.
How does this thing move? How does that sink?
It's got a whole armada on this fucking one ship.
This is the first movie, a part of the Kingsman franchise.
Oh yeah.
Please.
This is where it starts. Barbarossa founding Kingsman.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
I actually thought it was interesting to see Barbarossa with a crew that, I don't know, I guess not competent, but capable. Like, they're like doing the ropes really fast and well. No one's doing pratfalls and getting drunk.
Well, because they're actual like naval people.
Yeah,
you
so
know
it's
what I
cool.
mean?
You know what's funny? Right after this movie ended, I was like, oh, God, let me wash this out of my mouth. And I watched Master and Commander.
Oh, I've
Which
never seen it
rules.
actually.
It's good. You know what? It was my first time last night, which is I've been meaning to watch it for like ever. And I finally was like, no, you're watching these many fucking Pirates movies. You can watch that. And it was great. It's fucking
Is that
great.
just it's like Navy stuff though? Are they fighting pirates in that movie?
No, it's Russell Crowe as a British captain against a French ship along South America, and they kind of briefly encounter each other and try to light each other up. The visuals are really nice.
It's amazing. It's Peter Weir. It looks incredible. I mean, the French ship is almost a ghost ship in the beginning. Like it hides really easily, but no, it's pretty normal.
It's got those eerie moments, and it's got like those real moments where like everyone's just full of splinters and bleeding to death. The instant a cannon fires and stuff,
and like going to islands and just doing science experiments. It's a great movie. We're going too long, but it's an amazing movie.
Barbossa drafts Gibbs because Gibbs destroys the map from the last movie. He's like, it's all in me head now, and it's like, okay, all right,
yeah, that's
all right. So Gibbs is now on that ship, serving the Royal Navy to find the Fountain of Youth. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Let's get to Mermaid Island because
totally exactly. Yeah. So
because Blackbeard is like, we need a mermaid's tear, so we're gonna capture a mermaid, and they get to this island where all the mermaids are known to be. They put Stephen Graham, the priest, and a couple other people on a boat, and be like, you guys are bait, and that's kind of how it's gonna go.
The name of the place is Whitecap Bay, which sounds like a retirement community.
It definitely does. It definitely does.
Yar, we sail to Whitecap Bay for the early bird special.
It's either a retirement community cabin, I think you're right on about that, or it's like a bad beach bar in like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina or something. Like, oh yeah, come on down to Whitecap Bay. We got frozen margaritas this week. You can see an alligator in the back.
Like
Jimmy
a fake
Buffett
dive
on
bar.
The radio the entire time.
Oh yeah, these bars, nothing but Jimmy Buffett playing at them. Absolutely.
That cheeseburger is in paradise. Do not forget that.
It's dangerously undercooked, but it's in paradise.
The question is, I never really thought about those lyrics so much. Did the cheeseburger go to heaven? Is it a cheeseburger paradise for me? A cheeseburger?
I think you're getting a cheeseburger in paradise.
I think they saved the cheeseburger from Davy Jones's locker.
Got it.
And then used the world once it gets back to it as paradise.
I thought the song was about like heaven opened to McDonald's.
Yeah. You could get a cheeseburger.
No idea what y'all are talking about.
Oh, you know what? You're way better for it. The recording artist Jimmy Buffett has a song called Cheeseburger in Paradise.
It's in a big, put it in a box in your mind palace called Boomer Nonsense. And
yeah, it's very much that.
It's like Florida's like icon, essentially.
Yeah, the other year I went to Key West and there was tons of it down there. But you also see like people in like a Hawaiian shirt that has like Blue Lives Matter on it somehow.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah. It's fun.
So we are out on this little dinghy, and they tell tale of what the mermaid legend is, which is sailors hear the siren song and they go to try to get with these what they believe to be pretty ladies, and they're actually these monsters called mermaids, and they drag a man. And this is the way I understand it from the way the story is told. They drag a man down to the bottom of the ocean to leave him to die, and while dragging him down there, also have sex with them.
No, you're no. This is the legend that they're told here is that they take them, they bring them down, they drown them, and then they consume them. They're eating them because at some point somebody says like, oh, they're gonna eat you to the bone, matey.
Oh, because there is a joke right there about like, you're right, Kevin, because there's some like bad joke about the guy says like, they pull you down, they drown you, and then they eat you, or sometimes they start eating you before you've drowned.
Man, I would fucking go straight.
Like, hangs, which
yes.
I've never seen mermaid monsters like that. Like, it's like
they're hissing and shit. It's so strange.
And don't they have like seaweed webs they shoot at you too?
Yeah,
I don't know what this Spider-Man shit is, dude. I don't know.
Well, it is your classic woman-hating thing where it's like, yeah, either the woman is obsessed with her dad or a liar and a monster or literally a monster, like a succubus or a, you know what I mean? Like that kind of a thing.
Well, like
pretty ladies are trying to destroy you. I mean, that's just they're there for.
Exactly. This legend's kind of like from like the sirens and stuff of Greek mythology. It's like, if you didn't sing that fucking sexy song, I wouldn't have crashed my fucking boat.
Yeah, it's definitely the sirens. But I also read that like the whole like myth of mermaids is because drunk pirates would look out and see manatees and just like imagine them as pretty ladies.
Yep. Yeah. Which is wow, the pirate life, huh?
That's the character. I want Gibbs getting to third base with a manatee, like a full-on actual manatee.
Just got to a scene of heavy petting between Daddy Gibbs and a manatee.
Hi, Captain Jack. I'd like you to meet my fiancée, Bertha. Hi, mate. That ain't no woman, mate.
I'm about to get on Redbubble after this and make a shirt that says Daddy Gibbs.
I mean, if I was a mermaid, I'd be going straight for him because that's some roast beef I'm going to be having for dinner.
True. That is true. That is a good cut.
So the mermaids show up. They seduce Stephen Graham. He falls in love. And then this is where the crazy mermaid assault happens. There's a million of them.
We are blowing up like barrels of like gunpowder with these mermaids, like trying to attack them and everything.
There is a lighthouse, but Robert Pattinson is not furiously masturbating inside of it. But there is a lighthouse in the film with the mermaid.
This was cool. This like old-timey lighthouse, like powered by whale oil, like kind of cool.
Yeah,
and
it's an interesting set.
Because I guess that's another part of the lore is that the mermaids are lured to man-made light, I guess is the idea. So that's why they like this thing when they get there. Yeah, so big mermaid attack here. It's all underwater in the middle of the night, so you can't see shit.
If I go through this, if I'm a missionary who has 3 lines of dialogue in this movie and is supposedly a main character, if I'm that guy and I see a mermaid, I'm throwing my Bible right in the trash. Like, I'm like, you know what, dude? Whatever this book has to offer me is not true because I just saw a fucking mermaid, man.
And that is the actual like sane, grounded reaction to that, Steve. It's the same thing like whenever it is when the day comes that we realize there's aliens out there. Adios, Jesus. Like that's nothing, right? But in this movie,
they would bend over backwards to be like, well, Jesus was an alien. Or, well, Jesus was a mermaid.
Yeah. No, you're totally right. But the thing that Sam Claflin says later in the movie is the most ridiculous Bible-thumping thing ever. Yeah. He's like coddling this mermaid that he's like in love with, and he's like, oh, yes, it's you, one of the creatures that was not seen fit to be on the ark. And I was like, what are you talking about with the ark right now? Dude, Noah's Ark should not be mentioned in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie.
A really serious Christian like this guy, a guy who's devoted his entire life, he sees a mermaid, he's like, unholy creature!
Yes.
He sets it afire and chops it up. That's it.
We're setting sail for Noah's Ark, love. Moses' stone tablets are stored there.
Oh, that could be Pirate 6, dude.
Pirate 6 Dead Sea Scrolls?
We're going to sell them to the Vatican.
But I got 2 books in front of me. One is the Bible that doesn't have mermaids in it, and one is the Odyssey that does have mermaids in it. I'm like, well, I guess I'm worshiping Zeus now. We're going all the way back.
Yeah.
I'm worshiping Poseidon, Zeus, the whole gang.
The old gods might have been the right ones.
Entirely possible, and I don't know why we're saying it should take a mermaid to do this to this guy. Like, dude, if you're on a boat and some pirate waves a sword, and then all of a sudden all of these ghost ropes start attacking people?
Sure.
I don't know. Any evidence of the paranormal like that, the Bible's going out to sea. I'm sorry.
Any shred.
Just any shred of paranormal evidence, dude. Yeah, exactly.
Did that shadow move on its own? Is that a ghost? Throw this Bible out to be sure.
It's true when you point out that all their shit is bullshit now, they just stop.
I do love, so they put Cyrena is this this character. They put her in a cool glass coffin. Carry her around a little bit.
It's the
dude, like Lennon.
To go. Yeah.
Lennon had one of those. So did James Brown.
Hold on a second. Was Lennon a mermaid?
Probably.
Or a merman?
Yeah, he was also deemed unfit to ride the ark.
Man, if we had 2 Lennons, that'd be something.
2 of every Lennon.
Yeah, two Vladimir Lenins having sex on the Ark after the flood.
I only have these legs on land. I'm sorry.
That's why you never saw pictures of Lenin swimming.
Very true. That's why.
So yeah, they capture the one mermaid. Jack blows up the lighthouse. There's a bad joke right here, which is a joke that I feel is a little not for the time period when he's like, did everybody see me do that? Because I am not doing that again. And I was like, again, that's a Looney Tunes joke.
That was a trailer line. That's the only line I remember specifically from the trailer.
Did you see this in theaters, Chris? Because you're a movie guy.
I did.
I knew you did.
Yeah.
You went to the theater and saw this movie?
I press screening, excuse me, but
okay.
still a waste of time. Complete waste of my fucking life.
I don't think I saw it in the theater, but I definitely I definitely saw this at some point before this, I believe. Like once, maybe when it came out on video or something. Kelly.
Also, isn't there something where like some of the mermaids are also attacking Barbossa's ship, like off in the distance? They make some reference to that.
When he arrives, him and the two officers that are with him, Dinkle 1 and Dinkle 2.
Yeah.
They come up and then they're like, what's that sound? And they turn around and there's a bunch of nothings attacking the ship in the distance. You can just see a bunch of nothings throwing themselves on the ship.
Barbarossa's like, I only hear quails or seagulls or whatever. And the guy's like, okay, I guess that, all right, so we're not going to go assist.
Right, yeah, we're not going back to that ship is the idea.
Is this when Blackbeard really starts to try to make this mermaid cry? Is that what the idea is? And he's got his little special jar for the tears. And he's like, Yar, put on the last 20 minutes of Star Trek Wrath of God. We're going to make her cry.
And here it is to get this tear from ye mermaid, an ASPCA commercial. Look at all these sad dogs, mermaid.
Get ye to a dead dog movie.
Yar, it's the Bonnie episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Look at that mermaid. She came home and Joyce was lying there dead. That will do it.
Yar,
that does it to me every time.
We're going to watch First Reformed. Yar.
Would you like to see Hank die again?
In the arms of the angels. I mean, the whole notion of like, we have to capture this tear and then we're going to put it in a little jar as if like the natural biological effect of evaporation doesn't happen. What are you talking about?
Also, like, dude, like, take 5 tears.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I want to have a couple.
Yes,
Take the entire
100%.
tear
Oh
deck.
my God. I
Cut their
fucking
eyes
lost it.
out. Right, Chris? Cut their eyes out.
I fucking hated this. They just, you have this little, like, I don't know what, it's like a test tube almost.
Yeah, it does look like
thing.
a beaker or something, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, it will just come right out. It won't like stick to the sides or nothing and like come out as a half a tear. I mean, what will that get me? Like 20 years?
Like, that's a great point. What counts as a measurement of a tear? You know, you don't want
drop.
Well, small drop or big drop? Because Chris points out there could be a small drop situation.
Yeah, I'm saying just go there, get her over like a cutting board, and just get a bunch of onions, and just keep on doing it until you got a gallon. Just to be
gallon
safe.
of tears, my God. You'll
Just
be
to
there
be
all
safe.
month.
Just be no, you wouldn't. Come on, what? Crying from onions, you get tears.
A gallon, yeah, that is a lot. But
This tear is just—it's stupid for that reason, but it's also stupid because like this actress, who I believe is just like a model, she. What kind of like emotional investment could she have? I mean, they give her this love story, which is kind of ridiculous, but like how do you make a mermaid cry? Like, what is the precedent for that?
yeah,
It's a great question. And like, what is she finally cries because of what? Something with Claflin?
Because he loves her, and that moves her because she's like, oh, I've never been loved by somebody or something, right? Did I have that right? I think
you just met, you know.
yeah, exactly.
It's
not love, it's lust.
Pump the brakes a little bit. You saw a fish you could fuck. That's the whole thing.
You've said a total of 3 words to each other.
There's a ridiculous thing where he's helping her walk. Like she's on like the glass casket breaks at one point.
Legitimate laughs. It's a good pratfall. It's
hilarious.
It just feels like when you're moving and you're like, oh fuck, we dropped it. You know what I mean? Like
it's you're carrying a big heavy coffin, dude. And you slip in the mud like that. Definitely almost happened to me when I was a pallbearer for my grandfather's second wife. Almost fell in the cemetery.
Jesus.
Well, I'm glad you didn't.
Yes. That would have been a problem, I think.
I dropped the only thing of
Dead
value
body?
in our house was this painting that is behind glass. Not a painting, it's a photograph that I bought from my job was offering, yada, yada, yada. And I'm taking it out when we're moving. My wife's like, be careful with it. I'm like, I got it, drop. And it just broke.
Yeah. Was the photograph destroyed?
No, it's just being reframed, but then that place closed because of COVID. And I think they might have made off with it. I don't know what's going to happen.
Now
to
they have your haunted photograph, dude.
Exactly.
Oh, so that's why you're starting to age now.
Claflin has some ridiculous thing where like Blackbeard is like, yar, and another thing about this monster. And he's like, she has a name. And he's like, oh, okay. What is the name?
What's her name? What's her name? I just made a big fucking thing about it.
Their love story is just the most, oh my God, I hate that shit. Like there's just a beautiful, there's a beautiful skinny woman in my vicinity. I have to fall in love with her. And it's just this weird thing where it's like, she doesn't know anything of the world really. So it's just like, they're not even, it's like having a daughter that you want to fuck. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. She's too innocent.
Sickos. Yeah, they're just like, even better. Oh, she doesn't know anything.
Like the mermaids are shown to be evil, but they're not, but all they really know how to do is like one thing, which is just like attack them. Like, I feel like there's nothing else. At least she doesn't really give any, she doesn't say anything. She doesn't have any knowledge. She doesn't have any feelings. It's just this man just like projecting on her. It's like that. It's like when like Moby thought that he was dating Natalie Portman. It's weird.
Oh man, what a mistake that was, Moby.
What one of the most humiliating things. I feel like it had to have been on purpose. It was so absolutely humiliating to be like, well, you know, when I was dating Natalie Portman for a time, she's like, absolutely not. I have emails that said I didn't date this guy.
Although,
how do we know that she's not this mermaid is not just gonna kill him like as soon as like, oh, we're moving into our house together. Here's our
Exactly.
I will say that putting your girlfriend in a casket of water does sound like a Moby move, though. It sounds like something he'd be into.
If they get married, does it have to be a mermaid ceremony or a Christian ceremony? Like, cause usually,
I think it's two. You got to do two things to make
two.
both sides of the families happy. You know, everybody's got to fucking bend over backwards for this mermaid and dude wedding.
Mom,
half this family drowns at the mermaid wedding.
Her family eats his family.
Yeah, that's how that works. Okay.
Well, the only guests on her side are like, you know, a couple of other mermaids, a crab with a West Indian accent, and a yellow and blue pufferfish. They were the only people to RSVP.
Mom, Dad, I would like you to meet mermaids, other mermaid.
Our son just had to have a destination wedding. Ian, book passage on a fucking boat.
I don't know, like the last-ish parts of this movie, like they get the mermaid tier, which is great.
It is great. It's a big achievement for the movie.
They tie her up like a dog and like pretty much take her out of the movie almost entirely when they do. And Claflin's almost out of the movie at that point as well. Like, you know, this thing doesn't matter to the movie, the whole mermaid thing.
It doesn't.
Almost characters.
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
But nah.
We should say that Johnny Depp is forced to go off on his own through a very long series of things about jumping off a cliff.
The cliff jumping thing. Let me address this for a second. You know what this reminded me of is like, Steve, you can attest to this. Jourdain, I don't know if you ever done any improv. Did you ever do any like UCB or Magnet?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you'll understand this too. This scene reminds me of like when you're in an improv scene with somebody and they're rejecting what you're throwing out for the scene, and they're stonewalling you because it's like, okay, so now you have to jump off the cliff. And then as the bad improv scene partner, he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. find something else. Tell me to do something. I'm not going to jump off that. And I'm like, excuse me, this is a 2-hour and 19-minute movie. Will someone jump off this cliff already?
There's like 75 reversals in 3 minutes in this scene. Like, oh, Penelope Cruz is going to do it. Okay, I'm going to do it. No, I can't do it. You can't do it. Okay, I'm doing it.
And then when he finally does it, he does this whole like scream thing, and it just made me realize that I hate Johnny Depp's scream. It's
a bad scream. You realize too, because in that moment, I was like, I don't know if I've ever heard him scream before.
Yeah. You're doing the Pirates movies. Just put in a Wilhelm scream. I'd be cool with that.
And it's a weird thing where I don't know if it's an intentional audio gag because he says to the quartermaster, he's like, hey, man, you can tell the future. Will I die if I jump off this cliff? And the guy throws the voodoo doll off the cliff, and Johnny Depp screams like in that moment. And then it's the exact same sounding scream when he jumps off the cliff. And I was like, did they just double that?
Probably. Also, wouldn't he drown in air?
What?
Throw his voodoo doll in the water.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how that works.
I don't know. What's fucking doing that?
I don't think you can drown a voodoo doll. I guess that's what we learned in this movie.
Maybe it landed on the back.
We should.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
We should talk about Penelope Cruz's outfit when she comes to land, and she's wearing this hat, and it's very much like rich lady at a costume party kind of a thing. She's like, I'm a sexy pirate. And it's like, it doesn't fit with anything. I mean, like, she looks great. She's Penelope Cruz, but like, it doesn't work.
You know why, Steve? Pilgrim hat.
Well, I was going to, I get pilgrim hat. It kind of looks, it's a little too close to a cowboy hat.
It is, yes.
And you're like, Halloween costume is the exact right way to put it, Steve, because it's like, when you just decide on a Halloween costume at some point, you're like, you know what? Close enough. Like, she was at the costume store and she's like, I need a fucking pirate hat. And the guy's like, well, you could take this cowboy hat and put a feather in it. Like, close enough. There's my Halloween costume for this movie.
Look, lady, all I got is like sexy Amish hat. Is that work for you?
You could fold one of the brims up, make it look like a dingo kind of hat. I don't know.
Put a feather in it. I don't know.
You know, Halloween's only one night, right? It don't matter much.
I do. He meets up with Barbossa. They go on Ponce de Leon's ship. He's a skeleton. That's kind of fun.
It is kind of fun. I mean, this is one of those things where I wanted them to like free this ship. Like, it would be cool to see the ship like slide down the mountain. Sure. But instead, it's kind of just, it's not the exact same thing, but because it's balanced on like a rocky point or whatever, Barbossa and Sparrow have to like run back and forth to keep it balanced. And it's just like in the last movie where they're running like back and forth across the deck to flip the ship.
Right. Yeah.
It just reminded me of the same exact physicality almost.
Yeah. And I mean, you might as well be like, while this is happening.
But I read on Wikipedia that there's a moment in this scene. You get Ponce de Leon, the skeleton, with the spyglass. And apparently this is a nod to there's a skeleton with a spyglass on the ride. We haven't talked about the ride that much on this show because we've never done it. So apparently that's another little nugget for you.
Jourdain, are you a Disney ride person? Because Disney ride people exist who know all about the rides.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I know a lot of YouTubers, and there are a lot of YouTubers whose whole thing is like, we go to Disney and we ride the rides and we review the rides. So I'm aware, but no, I don't. I've been to Six Flags.
Exactly, because we're not millionaires. These commenters on the internet saying, why don't you ride the rides?
I will say, Jourdain, it's interesting that you brought up those YouTubers because this past Saturday, I got really high and watched a large portion of, not the entire thing, a large portion of an over 3-hour YouTube video where a guy just took like a GoPro and just walked through Disney World and like went on rides. And so really? I have vicariously through this dude,
holy shit,
in 4K 60 frames per second, now gone through some of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
I did not know it was on bootleg. I will have to check that out. I will have to live through this gentleman.
It's kind of funny because my wife said exactly what Jourdain said. I mean, there are like Disney internet people out there, and you watch these, and it's honestly tickets. In the moment it was kind of fascinating because it was like oh, it's in really high HD. It's kind of like I'm outside. So we wound up watching a lot of it, but it was more recent enough where there is the Jack Sparrow puppet on the ride, and it's just him. He's like got a glass and he's like, blah, 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 blah. It like doesn't even sound like Johnny Depp. Like it was all like garbled and shit, but he is in that ride, and it appears to be a pretty boring ride.
Seems like that. Seemed like a drinking ride.
Was he accosted by Disney security at the end of the video? Like just like a fucking 15 minutes of him getting his ass kicked.
Disney security torturing him. Yeah, we didn't get that far, but I should go back and see if that dude was sentenced to Disney death.
A hanging.
So they have to infiltrate the Spanish camp that has the 2 chalices. This takes a while.
They find the case for the chalices in Ponce de Leon's ship, and it's empty. It's just full of rocks.
Why did these Spanish naval officers decide to pull a Raiders of the Lost Ark with this? Like, just take the chalices. Why did they replace the chalices with 2 rocks?
I found these rocks in my pocket. Why not? There you go.
Yeah, the closest thing to rationale I could come up with is like, so the boat doesn't keep rocking when we leave.
Oh,
that
sure.
doesn't
I guess
really
that
make sense because it's 2 rocks in a box.
Yeah, I don't know. But so they get those the 2 chalices through some more like wacky shenanigans of stealing them. This is around where Barbossa, admits his, true motivation here, which is he doesn't give a shit about the King's Navy. He's just doing this so obviously he can get to Blackbeard and kill him. He has been capturing poisonous toads and putting their poisonous venom on his sword.
We haven't also spoken about what he really truly wants, which is the boat bottle. The collection of boat bottles.
Yeah, the Black Pearl is in a bottle somehow.
This is some enchanted boomer shit, like magical, like the little ship in the bottle, but it's real, and people are in there.
What if the snow globe was real?
Maybe there's a monkey in the snow globe.
But the thing about it is, like, that's a really, it's a big magical lift for this movie, and they act like there's nothing curious about this at all. I don't know, man. I need to see a ship go in that fucking bottle.
Or he's like, I've got this dark magic scepter that lets me do this. Something.
Just show the dark magic being done.
They don't even tell you how they get the fucking ship out of the boat at the end. They're just like, I don't know. I guess we'll do it, right? A hammer? How about a hammer?
There's a mention of a ritual. We need goats and we need a whatever. Oh,
I don't know. This sounded like the Keenan and Kel thing where at the beginning it's like, these are all the things that we need for the next scheme.
Oh, Keenan and Kel. That takes me back. I watched a lot of that show.
We wind up at the Fountain of Youth, right? It takes us a long time to get there, but we
very
do
long
indeed get there.
Well, so wait, so Barbarossa and Johnny Depp steal these chalices?
Yes.
And they get kind of caught, and then they have to do a breakout because we haven't had enough action set pieces that take a place above a ceiling. So we're in a fucking tree. Johnny Depp scurries up this tree while roped up and starts hucking himself to other trees.
Him and Barbarossa get caught by the Spanish.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Yeah. And they're tied to these coconut trees. And Johnny Depp, again, I'm pretty sure I have seen Bugs Bunny do this. Like shimmies up the tree because he can't cut the ropes himself. So he shimmies up to the top of it, gets himself off, and then he's flinging himself from what this is video game physics shit here again.
In the Gore Verbinski ones, which are full of problems, and I definitely said I didn't like the Bugs Bunny stuff, but at least it had a degree of whimsy to it, and this just feels just like going through the motion.
Yeah,
sure. Depp cared about the Looney Tunes shit in the other ones. He was dedicated to the Looney Tunes shit in the other ones. He's just the contract at this point.
But Kevin, you have I'm not saying you're wrong, but you have to also take into account the switching of the producer's story and the fact that you've got Rob Marshall, who, what Rob Marshall's never made me do is fucking laugh.
That's true.
He has no grasp on the comedic elements of this movie. They all fall flat. It's not any one person's fault. It's just a perfect storm of shittiness.
Yes.
The tide itself was pretty strange.
They're
at the thing. Water goes upside down. That's kind of fun looking. I like
they have
that
to
part.
go through a portal, like a ceiling portal.
I like
And
that.
actually, speaking of Portal, it reminded me of the game Portal. I was like, oh yeah, that game was fun, jumping through holes and stuff. I do like the visual of he's watching the water droplet like fall upward, which was pretty nice. But the thing is, like, he jumps through, like Johnny Depp stands on Scrum's shoulders and he gets sucked up into it. And then immediately behind him, all the other characters just are like, boop, 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 like all do it really quickly. I'm like, give this guy a second to like be in this scene alone. And like, maybe they're also trying to figure out how you get up there. Also, no one, like, you're going through this water portal. No one is wet. No one is coming up through this thing soaking wet. Big problem.
They're traveling through Alex Mack, and I feel like at least one person, like Stephen Graham, should be left back, like, and we should cut back to him and be like, oh, they left me. Because who's going to get him up there?
Oh, you're totally right, actually. Yeah, there's a person who's left behind. He can't reach the ceiling.
We don't see how any of them, we just see how like two of them get up there and then the rest of them just somehow manage to climb up.
Totally. Hey, how did that Secret World of Alex Mack show end? Was she killed by the government during the experiments?
Mm-hmm. That's it. Yep. Exactly.
Right. Dissected.
On national television, they killed her.
Oh, excellent.
The alien autopsy thing that Fox aired.
Sure.
That.
Got it. So yeah, we have the two cups. Johnny Depp. This is how he opens the portal. Is he says Aqua de Vita, like he reads the words on both of the things. That's how it opens up.
Oh, is that Inagata de Vita?
No, it's also not Danny DeVito.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in.
I'm a pirate. Hey, you're making this new movie, Danny DeVito the pirate. Come on,
right?
I was drinking limoncellos with Captain George. Captain George Clooney. That is the best thing The View has ever done. That interview with Danny DeVito and when Patrick Stewart asked Whoopi Goldberg to be on the second season of Picard. Great moments, both of them.
The only good moments in The View history.
In 25 years. So we're at the fountain now. We're trying to do this spell and everything.
The Spanish show up because they've been like non-entities. We should know who at least one of the Spanish
like the leader at
officers
least
are. You know what I mean? Like he should have characteristics and traits.
I think he's like, isn't he even credited as like the Spaniard?
Yeah, it's
like we definitely need more to this shit. We need
it's the
names.
Borg.
It's the Borg.
It's just the Borg. Like they're all just. There's no like names. I don't see like any. Nobody's like, oh, Vasquez, go fucking get. They just kind of like look at each other and know what to do.
For these white people, that could be the thing. It's like, oh, could you imagine a world of nothing but Spanish? Speaking Spanish.
When Penelope Cruz interacts with them, because I keep on thinking, why isn't she with the Spanish?
Yes. Yeah.
Totally. That's a great thing, right? If she turned out to be like a double agent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. That's actually great because then she could lead something and then the allegiances could switch between Blackbeard and the Spanish government or what have you. There would be some intrigue there.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the only real like conflict, what's first? Is it the Spanish getting angry about the Fountain of Youth, or is it's the Barbossa versus Blackbeard fight that happened?
Yeah, that's the first part. And that's another Chris Cabin to speak to what you were complaining about earlier, the whole like stopping the action, because like we're about to have a big fight here between, Barbossa's British Navy people, Blackbeard's guys, and then like versus the Spanish Armada guys. And like right when they're about to do it, Johnny Depp's like, now hang on a second. Do we really need a fight scene? And I was like, no, by all means, talk it out. Like that's what I'm here for. Conversation.
Is this what Rob Marshall thinks a joke is?
Yes.
So.
That's my only thing I can think of. Is that what you think this is? And you think that's what I want to see in a fucking Pirates movie?
Cut off humor like that happens a bunch of times because there's another thing at the end when Jack Sparrow and Angelica are about to kiss on that beach, and then like the music is swelling up, and then it's like there might as well be a fucking record scratch sound. Like they cut the whole song off, and then he's like, oh, never mind, I'm not going to make out with you. And I was like, It's not a joke for this movie to do that. It's not funny, Rob Marshall.
Yeah, that while they're fighting, the Spanish show up, and then they're like, "We'll destroy this unholy temple." And I love the leader of the Spanish battalion is like, "Well, I'll make short work of these silver chalices," and he mildly dents them and throws them away. I'm like, dude, you need to do better than that.
Oh, my antique cans.
I do love that they spent all this time like running to get to the Fountain of Youth, and then the Spanish are just like, only God can grant eternal life. Destroy the profane temple.
Which, if like Sam Claflin was still around right here, he should be like, those guys, I want to be on their ship now. They're all about PTL, and I'm here with these pirates.
And like God, who must have created, or some supernatural creature creates this Fountain of Youth. You make these chalices, you don't make them like indestructible.
Yeah, they dent like
you
Coke
dent them
cans.
with a kick.
But also, like, just dude, here's just pro tip to the Spanish: just do what everyone else does. Just rationalize and be like, "Well, God obviously left this fountain here for the Spanish."
Yes.
Sure.
Right.
Well, that's what the British think.
I don't.
What is with that? What is with that, Kevin? That
What-
moment that you referenced.
When he goes up, Dinkle 1 goes up with the British flag and is like, I claim this for the Brit.
Dude, he's assassinated
shot,
immediately.
yeah.
They shoot him right through that flag.
I don't buy the Spanish going across the world and just being like, "Nah, we're just here to burn things." I guess that's what they did in reality. Never mind.
Wouldn't you steal the chalices and use them some way or shape or form
Yeah,
or whatever?
or take the chalices back to the government to proof that no one else can use the fountain, even if it
Right.
wasn't destroyed.
Yeah, just,
Exactly.
like, steal it and put it in a museum. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what all these like fucking expeditions are for, to steal shit.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. You're stealing shit for the Empire anyway to bring back.
I'm sorry,
museum.
your king's a Catholic. I get that. He's not passing up eternal life. I'm sorry.
Mm.
The king of Spain. No, it's not happening.
No, I mean, why do you think the Catholic Church is always so associated with vampirism in a lot of these stories
Oh, yeah.
and shit, man?
You don't
The
think the
obsession.
Pope would drink from the Fountain of Youth? Give me
The
a-
Pope would drink from the Fountain
Please.
of Youth. Absolutely.
The Pope would drink your blood if he got the chance.
Don't fall for all his stuff about he believes in climate change. He's just trying to drink your blood.
And Barbossa fucking ganks Blackbeard pretty hard. I love this.
This was pretty sweet, I have to say.
Yeah.
Right in the back, too. Classic pirate move. And it's, of course, with the poison sword, and Penelope Cruz goes to try to help him out. And when the sword is, pulled back through, her hand is cut. Two poisonings going on.
Wouldn't it be great if we had like a good moment to talk about Blackbeard, but there's none.
There's nothing.
There's literally none.
He does his magic shit a few times and then that's it, and the character's then over. There's just too many characters, like all these movies, I guess.
There are, but man, he's a pretty big character to not do anything.
Well,
with
that's
this.
the thing, that they put him and Penelope Cruz together, and they both do nothing, as opposed to having one character do a lot of things.
A
They
nothing
weigh each other.
alliance.
Yes.
Also, we should mention at some point around here, or earlier, there's a weird thing where I could have sworn the quartermaster cuts Sam Claflin's throat and throws him down that hill.
It's
But I guess he
confusing.
just cuts his chest or something.
Yeah, he just gets his
Yeah.
stomach.
It's a trick.
He's still dying, right? I mean, that's why the mermaid takes him under the sea.
Yeah, because he's gravely injured a second time at the cabin. That is the belly slash. But there's another time where he's just sidelined in the movie, and then he wakes up and he goes and says that he's gonna save the mermaid, and then she swims away. He's injured and he cuts her free and she swims off.
Oh yeah. 'Cause
Right? And I was I could have sworn he fucking cut that guy's throat.
No, he get attacked by another mermaid, and that's what that initial
Sure.
injury is. I forget.
The
Honestly,
with Eric on
wizard
this
did
one.
it, dude. I don't know.
But he does get injured, and Jourdain says, the mermaid's like, I can help you, but you have to ask me. And he's like, sure. And she sucks him under the sea, and they fall out of the movie. It's like when you get a hole in an above ground pool and people get sucked out. They get sucked out of the movie.
They're just gone forever. And I'm like, okay, we spent a lot of time with this guy and this mermaid and their garbage love story. And this movie literally just flushed it.
Yeah.
And doesn't acknowledge what happens to this guy. I mean, I guess he's presumed dead.
I mean, show some blood bubbling up like, oh shit, I shouldn't have trusted a mermaid.
I kind of just thought, is she just going to turn him into a mermaid? And if so, like, why couldn't we see that shit?
Yeah, I would love that transformation.
Yes. I'm
like
into a merman.
Show me like the mer world. You could do Atlantis at this point. That's supposed to be in the proximity, right?
Well, isn't the next movie?
Of which, Rob Marshall is doing The Little Mermaid. Yeah.
So they're both Blackbeard and Angelica are both dying right now. Everybody flees from this temple because the Spanish dudes like knock everything down. The fountain is destroyed. Everything. So everybody just fucking gets out of town except for these three. And Johnny Depp's like, all right, well, we can still do this ceremony. I guess I have this one tear that we collected 4 days ago. It's definitely still in here. Don't worry about it. He does the thing. And I knew right away. Yeah. I was like, you know what? He fucking switched those cups, dude, because he knows that Blackbeard is a son of a bitch and he's going to screw over his own daughter. And here we go. And wouldn't you know it? They both sip from the cup. Blackbeard chose poorly. And so Penelope Cruz is rescued and comes back to life. And you see like the cut on her hand heals and everything. And Blackbeard starts dying. And I got to say, you guys said there is not a cool Blackbeard moment. Dude, Blackbeard in a blender? Yes, please. Yes, please. Oh, my God. This was awesome.
It's good until the fucking 3D hand skeleton comes out.
I like it. I like all of it.
I hated that. I fucking hated that.
Dude, I was down, Kevin. I was like, more of this water blender, whatever is happening right now. And the weird thing is, like, this movie, like, that's it. It's kind of an unceremonious ending. It's like, all right, well, so Barbossa, got his ship, so he's out of there with all his pirate buddies.
He steals Blackbeard's sword, and now he's making the ship go round.
Yes. And so, like, that's him. He's off to do his own thing. Johnny Depp gives Penelope Cruz the suicide treatment. She's dropped off on an island with one shot in the gun. And this is the whole like, oh, don't leave me here. I love you. I mean, I'm pregnant. I mean, I'll give you $1.
The character's been so unfounded the entire time. I'm like, does she love him or is she just trying to get off the island? Like, you have no idea because it's been like.
I thought it was pretty straightforward. She's just like saying shit so that she's not abandoned here.
Sure.
But then he does it. That was kind of an interesting turn. He leaves her there on that island and goes off. And it's sort of, and Barbossa, by the way, because we can't even, go one movie without at least saying the name. We haven't gone there in this movie, but he is going back to Tortuga. It is shore leave. We're going to be partying hard in that city.
Well, that's the thing is, these guys have been working for Blackbeard for a long time. You want to be the new boss. You want to be the fun new boss. You got a corporate outing to Tortuga. We'll do some team building exercises.
Yar, I'll get these zombies laid.
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Are the zombies going with?
Some of them the prominent zombies get killed in the scuffle, like a big beam falls on them.
Yeah.
There are prominent zombies.
There's two prominent zombies.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's going to Tortuga. And then like Jack Sparrow meets back up with Gibbs on another island. He has earlier in the film given Gibbs his compass and he's like, hey man, you're free now, go on. And Gibbs, we learn, has stolen all of those ships in a bottle, including the Black Pearl. And yeah, the whole thing is, I did kind of like the gag of he looks at the bottle and the monkey is stuck in the ship and kind of like jumps out. And that was the only time I kind of laughed when he was like, I hate that monkey. I was like, I do too, Jack Sparrow. Thank you. But then we're sort of left with like, well, okay, we have to do this other incantation to get the ship out of the bottle. And I was like, this is such a blown opportunity for them to just like pull the cork, a cool visual of the ship like coming out of the bottle, like back into the water. And then he's like, oh, wait a minute. Let's open all of those ships. And then the end of the movie could be he's like ruling an entire pirate armada. How cool would that be?
That'd be something.
Like
Cool. Yeah.
It would be something. Yeah. Instead of nothing, which is just he kind of just winks at the camera and we go to credits.
Yeah, I think this is a
He
pirate's
says
life. for me.
savvy one more time before.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. You got to get savvy in there one last time before the credits roll.
And they don't even let that savvy like hold there for a second. And he's like, savvy credits.
Yeah. I think they cut before he's done saying the word. Oh, man. And then it's like, here's your big problem, directed by Rob Marshall. There it is. That's why this is as messy as it is.
Stinger scene.
Yeah. And, Stinger scenes should really, like, add something.
Matter.
Maybe they thought they
Nah.
were adding something here, but it's Penelope Cruz on the island. Somehow, even though the voodoo doll was thrown into, like, a lagoon by the quartermaster, it somehow has found its way out into the ocean and all the way to this other island that she's been abandoned on. And she picks it up and it's just like, oh, hey, wouldn't you know? And that's the end of it. She's not in the next movie, so it doesn't matter at all.
Well, I think that's the same thing with the same Claflin thing. It's like, oh, we'll just figure it out in the next movie. And it's like, oh, it didn't test well, so it's not going to happen. So we didn't actually finish our movie
Your
because it didn't
Stinger
test
scene,
well.
I mean, you're right, but like the Stinger scene should be something to do with like, what happened to that guy that was dragged under the sea by that mermaid? Maybe he's just
Right.
like, they're down there, they're having like mermaid dinner on the bottom of the sea.
That'd be fun.
I don't know.
Yes, if Javier Bardem is like, I must speak to the king of the mermaid.
Well, yeah, and that would be now. I guess this is 2011, and now 6 years later, in 2017, is
Yep.
when the next movie comes out.
Correct. Yeah. And I don't know if Penelope and Javier were together when this fourth movie came out, but they were
Feel
when
like
this
they
next
were.
one came out. I don't remember. But yeah, that is this movie, the first one that they released, not in the Swan Turner cycle. And as always here on We Hate Movies, we'll go around to see who would recommend this movie. And our guest today, Jourdain, we will start with you. Would you recommend Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides?
Absolutely not. I'd rather watch Cutthroat Islands.
I back that up.
Excellent,
I got to
Paul.
rewatch that.
I've never seen it, honestly.
Rennie Harlan, a better director than fucking Rob Marshall.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ooh, Jourdain, now you've inspired me. I got to watch this movie now. One of the
I
biggest
mean, I had like
turkeys
a
of all
big
time.
crush. I had a big crush on Frank Langella, which is the weirdest. I watched it for him.
Oh, is
Yeah.
is that also why you've seen the live action Masters of the Universe so many times?
I actually met him and told him that I was a fan, and he just basically was like, "You're a baby. How do you even know who I am?"
Well, he was in a couple of Tiger Beat magazines in the early 90s, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Hey, yeah, to tie in with Brain Scan.
He did a few
Oh,
for
right.
Eddie, too.
Oh, Eddie. Oh, actually, that's so great. Bringing back the Whoopster. That movie is the first time I ever heard the expression "fuck you" and the horse you rode in on.
Really?
Because Whoopi says it to
Whoa.
Frank Langella in that movie.
Makes sense.
Steve Sadak on Stranger Tides.
No. Yeah, I mean, it's funny, the farther we get away from the first movie, I'm like, that movie's great. You know what I mean? Like, I just kinda-
Yes.
and I've hated it for a long time, but watching we go down this horrible stairs, and I mean, I do feel like you really miss Gore Verbinski here. Like, each movie that we've seen, including the last one, have really interesting shots in them, and this
Mhm.
movie has none of that. It's just soulless and kind of whatever, but I would rather watch this than at World's End, just for the fact that it's a little shorter and it's a little bit cleaner. So I'll take it.
Totally. Eric Siska.
Well, I agree with Steve that I would put it above at World's End just for the runtime. It is like real paint by numbers and dull. One thing we didn't get to mention that was pretty cool was Barbossa has like a booze thermos in his peg leg.
Oh, yes, totally.
Pretty nice. But like, I'm just kind of tired. I know the whole franchise so far has been heavily supernatural, but I'm honestly kind of tired of it. Can we just get some fucking treasure? Maybe. We'll see next week. I doubt it, right? 'Cause
Yeah, I'm going to guess probably not.
Javier Bardem's like an underwater ghost. That's what I
Yes.
could tell from the trailer.
Yeah,
And
that's
there's like zombie sharks or some shit. I don't
weird.
know.
More zombie ghost things. That's weird.
Yep. Chris Cabin.
Absolutely not. This is horrible. And like, if you like take the top 10 most lucrative films from every year of the last 10 years, You showed them all to everybody. Nobody would pick this as the movie that cost the most money to ever make. Ever. Because it has no sense of, like, the spectacle is garbage.
Right.
Yeah.
It's absolutely drained. There's no, like, real, like, sense of, like, oh my God, they did that with that money? No, it's not. You're just like, oh, is this over yet? Please. Please.
Well, that made like
kind of
55 million on this movie. 5 million.
And you're right. There's like, at least at World's End and some of these other movies had great set pieces.
Yes.
And the CGI looked interesting. And like, I honestly, I can't tell you one moment of this movie that I was particularly enthralled with. I did like the start with the, with the running around London because it was a change of pace. But other than that, I can't name a single thing that's good.
I would say there's one way to recommend this movie, and it's if you haven't seen those first 3 movies. Because I think if this was your introduction to this franchise, you'd kind of be like, okay, like it's not great, but all right, I get it. I don't know. Right. I think this one, more than those others too, even though it's convoluted in kind of a more straightaway fashion. There's less like flippy floppy on the boats and it's all there. That stuff is all there. But I feel like it was done to a little less of a degree, which means like if you were doing it as a hangover movie, you'd kind of be okay with following along because they're just going to this fountain. It takes them a long time to get there, but that's all they're doing is going to the fountain.
I feel the cutting down of the flippy floppy is just because of the shorter runtime. The flippy floppy would be back in there if they had another 20 minutes to do it. It would be all flippy floppy.
Maybe they cut it out. That's why it was so expensive. I bet the original cut of the movie was way longer.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
And I want to say, too, I was doing some, I think it was on the Wikipedia page linked to an interview with Gore Verbinski. And it was actually a great thing he said in an interview. They were like, why did you wind up, turning down this movie? And he was like, because the only reason I could see to do a 4th one of these movies was purely financial. Yeah. And I think it's pretty respectable, even though like that year he had Rango. Like Rango and this were the same year. Rango is way better.
And Rango is actually good.
Yeah,
it's so much fun. And it was it's kind of nice to have a director who's going to say that. And it's disappointing with Rob Marshall too, just with like the flashiness to it. Because Chicago is one of the flashiest movies of all time. I think that is a great movie. And this is just so not that. Motherfucker needed a lighting crew. I don't know why we couldn't turn the lights on with these fight scenes. So just like in a normal situation, no, not a recommend for me. If this was your first Pirates of the Caribbean ride, hey, I think you'd be all right. But that is Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, directed by Mr. Marshall, as we have said. Jourdain, thanks so much for coming on. This is a lot of fun. We finally got to have you on the show.
I've been wanting to be on for a while. I still want to do single white female at some point, but yes.
We'll be doing
we will definitely get that figured out.
We were originally supposed to have Jourdain on earlier, but to do single white female, but COVID struck, and we're just grateful you're here today.
Yeah,
totally.
COVID got everything. I was supposed to host a live screening of Striptease with Demi Moore.
Oh, what?
So that's being rescheduled. I was supposed to do it at the Nighthawk. So whenever COVID is over, please come to that.
Yes, we will definitely be there for that. Are you kidding me? That'd be so much fun. Speaking of you hosting things, where can people find your work on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JOURDAYEN, Jourdain. And, I write for Bitch Media, AV Club, Thrillist. And so I'm around. I covered all of Steven Universe Future, if you watch that show. And listen to Bad Romance. We're on Lunar Light Studio, which is a nice little like indie queer podcast studio that I just became part of.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Is there a web address for that, or is it in iTunes, or?
It's for the podcast or the website?
The website, I guess. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just I think it's like lunarlightstudio.com. But if you find my podcast on Spotify, it'll have like information for that.
Brilliant. So that's going to wrap up the penultimate Pirate Mania episode of We Hate Movies. Next week, of course, is Pirates of the Caribbean 5. I'm going to go by Steve Sadak's sequel legislation. It is just Pirates of the Caribbean 5. Of course, find More We Hate Movies over on patreon.com/We Hate Movies. We had a We Love Movies episode on Gore Verbinski's The Ring.
And by the way, I want to mention that the Nexus this month is super 90 minutes.
Wow.
90
Ooh,
minutes.
yeah, we were gabbing a long time.
A big daddy episode for some daddies.
Oh, yeah, it is both. Yeah, that's right. Both of those Trek episodes, horrendous daddy issues throughout. So be sure to check that out. We will
Daddy
be back.
Gibbs!
Daddy Gibbs. Jourdain, if you make that t-shirt, by the way, I will buy one.
Yeah.
And I will wear it in public. That's going to do it for us this week, gang. Until next week with Pirates of the Caribbean 5, I'm Andrew Jupin.
Steven Sadek.
Eric Siska.
Chris Cabin.
Jourdain Searles.
Take it easy.
That was a HeadGum podcast.